When Garmin launched the Edge 1040, it was one of the most advanced bike computers available. It was the first to include solar charging for longer battery life and multi-band GPS for better accuracy, no matter the conditions. However, despite all the high-tech features, the screen looked a bit outdated compared to the brighter, sharper displays we see everywhere today. This year, Garmin addressed that with the Edge 1050. It builds on everything that made the 1040 great and added some new ones, including a much brighter and more modern screen that really catches the eye. But Garmin made it clear that the Edge 1050 doesn't replace the 1040. So you might be wondering, should you stay with the 1040, or is the upgrade worth it? Let's take a closer look to help you decide. The first thing anyone will notice with the Edge 1050 is the display. It's impossible to ignore just how bright and vibrant it is. Garmin really stepped it up here, cranking the brightness to 1000 nits, which is basically like having a mini sun on your handlebars. In any kind of light, whether it's a gloomy overcast day or the middle of summer with the sun beating down, the 1050 is clear and super easy to read. The colors are punchy, the screen is crisp, and it just feels modern. The Edge 1040, on the other hand, isn't bad at all. It's got a solid screen that holds up well in most conditions. But when you compare it side by side with the 1050, it starts to feel a bit, well, outdated. The colors on the 1040 are a little more subdued, and it doesn't have that same level of clarity when the light is bright. If having a vibrant, eye-popping display is important to you, the Edge 1050 is definitely where you'll want to lean. It's just easier to read your stats or glance at the map without squinting. Moving on to the touchscreen, this is where the Edge 1050 really starts to feel more like a smartphone than a bike computer. Previous Garmin models had touchscreens that were functional, but not exactly mind-blowing. They were decent, responsive enough, but the 1050 feels fast, fluid, and super responsive. Navigating through the menus, zooming in on maps, or switching screens is smooth and effortless. It's just more satisfying to use, plain and simple. The Edge 1040, it works fine, but there's definitely a bit more lag compared to the snappy feel of the 1050. In terms of design, the 1050 looks sleeker and sharper. The Edge 1040 has those rounded traditional Garmin edges, but the 1050? It's got this more aggressive angular look, almost like a stealth fighter. It's the kind of tech that looks good, even when it's covered in dirt after a long, muddy ride. It's a small thing, but if aesthetics and that sleek factor matter to you, the Edge 1050 just has that next level feel. It's the kind of upgrade where you look down at it and think, yeah, this is nice. But with all that brightness and screen power comes a price: battery life. Here's where the Edge 1040 pulls ahead. The Edge 1040 offers up to 35 hours of use in regular conditions and up to 70 hours in battery saver mode. And if you're using the Edge 1040 Solar, you can push that up to 45 hours or even 100 hours in battery saver mode with sunlight. That's some serious staying power for those who are doing long-distance rides or multi-day adventures. The Edge 1050, while still respectable, can't quite compete in the battery department. It provides up to 20 hours of battery life in demanding situations, or 60 hours in battery saver mode. That's still more than enough for most rides, but if you're someone who prioritizes maximum battery life, especially for those epic, all-day outings, the Edge 1040 or 1040 Solar is the better bet. It's really a question of whether the extra brightness and modern screen of the 1050 are worth a few hours of battery life to you. Now let's talk about some of the cool new features on the Edge 1050. One of the standout additions is Garmin Pay. This lets you leave your wallet at home and pay for things mid-ride, whether it's grabbing a coffee or refueling at a gas station. It's not a feature you'd think would make a huge difference, but once you start using it, you realize how convenient it is. Quick tap-and-go payments right from your bike computer? Not bad. Then there's the electronic bell. Yeah, at first it sounds like a gimmick, but once you start using it, it's surprisingly handy. The bell is loud, and it sounds just like a real bike bell. It's perfect for clearing pedestrians or alerting other riders, and it saves you from having to clutter your handlebars with a separate bell. Honestly, once it's there, it's hard to imagine going back. Plus, the Edge 1050's built-in speaker gives you refined audio alerts for turn-by-turn directions and ride prompts. The earlier models, Let's just say their sound was more like a clunky, old-school beep compared to the smooth, refined tones of the 1050. Both the Edge 1040 and 1050 come with preloaded Garmin cycle maps and can store extra regions thanks to their 64 GB storage. This allows you to download maps for different areas. And the big news is the Edge 1050 finally lets you download maps wirelessly, something Garmin users have been waiting for. Previously, map downloads required the Garmin Express desktop app and a wired connection on older models. Both computers also support multiband GNSS for accurate tracking, and the Edge 1050 brings a much improved map display with a refreshed user interface that feels more modern. Safety features have always been a big focus for Garmin, and the Edge 1050 continues that trend with a few clever additions. One of the most useful is the community-generated road hazard alerts. Think of it like Waze, but for cyclists. Other Garmin users can flag things like potholes, debris, or even animals, and you'll get a warning when you're approaching those hazards. It's a small touch, but one that can save a lot of headaches, and maybe even a few crashes, especially if you ride in areas where the conditions can be unpredictable. The Edge 1050 also combines Garmin's group ride and incident detection features in a more integrated way. You'll now get real-time alerts if someone in your group has an incident, which means you can stop and help if needed. These aren't the kinds of features you'll use every day, but when you're out on group rides or exploring new routes, they're a nice added layer of security. So, should you upgrade from the Edge 1040 to the Edge 1050? It really depends on what matters most to you. If you want a vibrant display, new features like Garmin Pay, and the latest tech, the Edge 1050 is a great choice. It's a next-gen device that tech enthusiasts will appreciate. But if battery life is your priority, or you'd prefer to save some money without losing core performance, the Edge 1040 might be the better option. At the end of the day, both the Edge 1040 and 1050 are excellent choices. The 1050 feels more advanced, but if you prefer longer battery life with essential features, the 1040 is a great pick. And no matter which one you choose, you'll have one of the best cycling computers available. So, which one are you going with? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more cycling insights.